Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Capnclydes MTG. We're back again. This time we're going to talk about Karlov Manor and the best modern cards that I think may have an impact on the format. I know there's lots of stuff out there. People are saying things. There's talk on the streets. But in my opinion, I'm just going to give you what I think. And if you don't like it, I'm sure there'll be some mean comments down in the comment section, like always. And yeah, just have fun with that. So before we get started, don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. All the links are in the description for the eBay card stores, Patreon, all that good jazz. We're on Rumble. Check us out over there. And don't forget as well, the cheapest way to support the channel is just subscribe and watch some videos. I greatly appreciate it. I'm still waiting for ShamWow. Didn't think I'd say it, did you? Anyway, let's get started. We're going to start this show off, or shindig, or piss poor podcast. Call it what you will. We're going to start off with an honorable mention for Modern, and that is Rakdos, Patron of Chaos. So, red-black, 4 colorless for 6/6 flying trample. Good old flamplers, gotta love them. Beginning of your end step, target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land, non-token permanents. If they don't, you draw 2 cards. Why is it only honorable mention? Well, let's be honest. At 6 mana, nobody's casting this thing. You're going to cheat it out of the graveyard and then hope for the best. Those decks are kind of semi-popular in Modern, not really. There's some tin fins and all that good stuff running around. Is it better than Attracts and the other cards? Maybe not. But to be fair, the ability to draw 2 cards and have a 6/6 Flampler that you got in your graveyard all the time could be a thing. Plus, if you don't want to run a bunch of the same legendary creature, having extra legendary creatures to choose from is always a sweet thing. So, we'll just do what we can, I guess. But honorable mention, I think it's pretty sweet. I definitely got to see some Commander play this bad boy. Anyway, moving on. We're going to start off with number 5 here. We have the Fugitive Codebreaker, red and 1 for a 2/1 prowess haste. This reminds me a lot of Monastery Swiftspear, which does see a lot of play. It is 2 mana though, but it's a 2/1, not a 1/2. It also makes it easier to kill, even if you do pump it up with prowess. But I think the biggest thing about this card is you can cast it for 3 colorless with Ward 2 as a 2/2, turn it face up for a red and 5, and then discard your hand and draw 3 cards. And you may be thinking, the captain, 6 mana and Modern? Are you shitting me? I wouldn't shit you, you're my favorite turd. The ability of Disguise on this particular little fella is reduced by 1 colorless for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. So, what it really reads is if you lay this on turn 3 and they don't kill it, by turn 3 you're probably going to have 4 or 5 instant spells in there. So this thing's going to flip up for 1 red, and your hand's probably going to be empty. And then you're just going to draw 3 cards, because that's how this bad boy rolls. So, this could very well become part of the mono red deck, although I would say it's iffy, but the possibilities are very high, which is why it made the very thin line of number 5. So, moving on, next we're going to talk about number 4, and it's no lie, there are no more lies. We've seen this in some of the other videos. It's just amazing. A blue and a white counterspell. It is an additional mana leak with the ability to actually exile cards. And in Modern, as you probably know as well as I do, graveyard shenanigans are afoot. So the ability to exile troublesome cards so they don't become troublesome anymore is a big thing. So, something to think about. Now, it has to be played in a blue-white deck, or, an American blue-white-red deck. So, Mana Leak will probably still be very prevalent if the deck's not playing white. But again, we're talking about Modern, where you can run 4 colors because of Shocklands and Fetches and all that other good jazz. A 2-color card, or adding a color to a deck in Modern, is not a thing. There's even 5-color decks, so we'll have to wait and see. Now, some people are not as, we'll say, high on the ladder with this thing as I am, but I just think it's good enough. Mana Leak is pretty much good enough, and if you have a choice between the two, if you're playing white, I think you'd rather play this. So, it may take the place of Mana Leak, so we'll have to wait and see. Next, coming in at number 3, Insidious Roots. Very interesting addition, a black and a green. It's an enchantment. Enchantments are already hard to deal with in Modern. Most people don't deal with them. Creature tokens you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Whenever one or more creature cards leave your graveyard, you get to make an 0/1 green plant token creature. Then put a +1/+1 counter on each plant you control. There's tons of shenanigans here. I don't even know where to start. First off, you could be playing a token deck. Yes, I know they're normally green-white, but again, like I said, this is Modern and fetch lands and shocks. Anyway, moving on. All your tokens could tap for mana, making it very easy for you to just spill onto the board. Plus, if you have some way to get cards out of your graveyard, especially creatures, you start making 0/1 plant tokens that become 1/2s every time you make one. So 1/2 is not that great, but if you have plant token laying around, it becomes a 2/3 and then a 3/4, and then it's a 4/5 problem. It's gonna be a problem, period. So I think there's some shenanigans here in several ways, and everything from combo kills, token kills, to just I'm just gonna whoop your ass with a giant salad. Tons of things going on here, so I think it's gonna be impressive. Could see a new archetype. Moving on, next we have number 2, Case of the Stashed Skeleton. Not a lot of people are talking about this card. I'm very impressed with it, so let me tell you why. So, a black and a 1, when it enters the battlefield, you automatically get a 2/1 black skeleton creature token and you suspect it, which means it has menace and it can't block. A 2-mana 2/1 is fine. Not good for Modern if it doesn't do anything. However, at least you get something for the first 2 mana you invest, because after that, it says to solve this, you have to control no suspected skeletons, which, that's easy. Just let it block and die. Secondly, once you don't, it's then solved, which it then says, for a black and 1, you can sacrifice the case, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Activate only as a sorcery. So you have to wait a turn to do it after the skeleton dies. However, this is still a slightly more expensive demonic tutor, which actually costs exactly the same if that 2/1 starts putting in some work. And if the 2/1 gets dealt with, you just demonic tutor. And it can be dealt with in several ways. You can run the black cards that let you draw cards by sacrificing artifacts or creatures, or any other thing that makes you sacrifice tokens. There's tons of things going on here, and this is just absurd. I don't think people are paying this card enough credit right now for what it can and what I think it will do in the future, which is some god-awful things, and probably going to be a bane of a lot of people when they come across it, especially in a combo deck. I mean, the worst thing about it is it can't block, so you can't make this and then block to kill your skeleton. But like I mentioned, there's plenty of ways to get rid of creatures, even your creatures, for a benefit, which then can trigger this card. And that may be where we're going with this, and it may be because of that why this card becomes kind of popular. Alright, moving on. So, number 1 in Modern, that's right, it's an uncommon. Who would have thought all the uncommons these days are getting banned and worth $20? Anyway, moving on. It's Breakout, green and a red sorcery. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them. If that card mana value is 2 or less, you may put it on the battlefield. It gains haste on a turn. If you didn't put a revealed card onto the battlefield this way, put it into your hand, put the rest in the bottom in random order. This is another piece of the puzzle to put into a collective company deck. Or not. I mean, it's good enough by itself. I mean, if it's a 2 mana, look at the top 6 cards. Pick what you want, put it in your hand. That's pretty damn good. If it happens to be a 2 mana creature, it just goes around the battlefield. Just straight on. You know. Put the old Dark Confidant, straight on the battlefield. Put a Loigroif, straight on the battlefield. Ragavan, straight on the battlefield. And it has haste. Like, you're going to punch them with it. So if it's a Ragavan, you're going to get a card off the top of their deck plus a treasure token to go with it. there's so much versatility here and so many things that could happen that it's just absurd how good this card is. Now, in a collective company deck, it may be a liability because you need a lot of creatures to make collective company hits good. But with that said, if you build it right and you finagle 4 of these or even 2 in, that's like having a couple extra collective companies for some select cards. And all those select cards are cards that are combo pieces. We're talking about, you know, um, that mana druid that gives itself mana and untaps itself, or makes mana and untaps itself by -1/-1 counters. I can't remember all the cards, but anyway, there are tons of 2 mana cards that are part of combos in Modern that's really going to benefit from this card. So yeah, I mean, the only reason this thing didn't make Standard is because there's not bomb 2-drops in Standard that can like wreck the entire format by them just hitting the table. So, yep, there you have it, guys. Your ride is here, just like he says. So, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. Until next time, be kind. And as always, I hope to see you across from the game table. Let me get a break out of here and get a sandwich. Giggity.